Hello and welcome back to another week here at Knack Kitchen, where today we are making carrot cake with cream cheese frosting. And since Easter is around the corner, I thought I'd make an Easter basket. But I really didn't have any Easter eggs, so well, it's technically a flour basket, but either way, this is absolutely delicious and amazing to look at. So without wasting any more time, let's just dive into this video and see how we make this. So we're going to start by making the carrot cake, and here I'm making two 8-inch cakes. So for that we need 4 eggs, to which we're going to add some sugar. I like to use both brown and white sugar, but you could use all white sugar or all brown sugar as your preference. Once that has been mixed properly, we'll add some oil. That would be the fat over here. We're not using any butter. And once the oil has been incorporated, we'll add some vanilla extract. Just for flavor, we'll stir it for about 30 seconds, and then we are adding some crushed pineapple. And you might be thinking, why are we adding pineapple to a carrot cake? But it's beautiful in this cake, so trust me on that, do add some pineapple. And now we're going to add our dry ingredients, such as just some flour, our leavening agents, followed by some spices. So I have some cinnamon, some nutmeg, and some allspice. Once all of it has been added, we're just going to mix that with a whisk. That takes about 30-35 seconds, and then we're going to add the remaining half of the flour, and we're going to mix this through as well. Be careful not to over mix, so once you don't see any more white flour in your batter, then we're good. We're in business, and we're going to move ahead and add some toasted walnuts. I like to toast them. You can add them just as is, or you could even skip them altogether. Along with the walnuts, we'll also add our carrots, which have been shredded. This is 300 grams, which is roughly about 4 medium to large carrots, and I like to add this again in 2 halves. It's just easier to incorporate. Again, be careful not to over whisk. Once all of the carrots have been evenly distributed, we're done. So this is the consistency of our cake batter. We're going to go ahead and transfer this into 2 8-inch pans, and then we're just going to tap this on the countertop a couple of times and bake this in a preheated oven. The details of it would be in the description box below, so do check that out. Now I like to bake my cakes the night before, so I'm going to go ahead and cover this and refrigerate this. And then on the day of serving, I'm going to make our cream cheese frosting, for which I have some soft unsalted butter in a bowl, to which we're going to go ahead and add our homemade cream cheese. And if you haven't checked that video out, I'm going to link that in the description box below. It's perfect for this frosting, and it's so much more cost effective. Just go ahead and try it. And now we're going to beat the butter and cream cheese together until everything is evenly combined. And at that stage, we're going to go ahead and add our icing sugar. I like to add this in 2 stages, just because it's easier to mix in. And I'm using a spatula at first because I do not want a cloud of icing sugar to be flying all over the place. So now we'll use our electric beater, and we're going to beat this for a good 2 minutes until the sugar is dissolved. At that stage, we're going to go ahead and add the remaining icing sugar. We're going to repeat the whole process, and we'll also add a little bit of vanilla extract. And now we're going to beat this for about 2 to 3 minutes until everything comes together. The icing will start to thicken up, and this is the consistency that we'll have. The fact that it's made with homemade cream cheese makes it so much better. Since the kitchen is a little warm, I'm going to refrigerate the icing for about 30 minutes before we start our assembly. And today I'm making a 2-layer cake only. So on my first layer of cake, I'm adding my frosting in an even layer, and with the help of a spatula, I'm going to spread this out. Now usually I would have made a 4-layer cake. I would have sliced the cake layers in half, but since I'm doing a whole basket weave, which was a bit of an experiment for me, I didn't want to overly complicate matters. But you can certainly make a 4-layer cake if you want. So after adding the final layer, I'm going to give this a crumb coat, and for that I have set aside some icing because I don't want any cake crumbs to go into my entire frosting. And now with the help of a bench scraper, I'm going to smooth out the edges as evenly as I can. And then I'm going to cover the top as well. So now I'm going to place this back in the refrigerator for another 45 minutes, just because it's very warm right now. And then we're going to go ahead and make our basket weave. And for this, I definitely recommend that you check out some YouTube tutorial because there are lots of good ones, and I certainly had the help of quite a few of those. And what I did was I started with a vertical line followed by shorter horizontal lines. You leave a bit of a gap so that when you pipe the second vertical line, our horizontal lines are going to come over from those gaps. This way we'll end up with a nice little weave, and that's what we want. Now, the kitchen was very warm, so I had a bit of trouble. The icing was softening in places, but I managed to cover this all up. And now we're going to place this back in the refrigerator for another 45 minutes just to firm up. And in the meanwhile, we'll make the handle for our basket. And the handle is optional, but highly recommended, for which I have fondant that I have just rolled out with my hands into a strip. And now I'm using a bendable metal wire, and we're just going to place this fondant on the wire. We're going to cover it completely. Now, it does not have to be a long piece of fondant. You could just do this in segments and attach the fondant. It's very easy to do, so you really don't need to worry. So there's really nothing to worry. So this is what our completed handle is going to look like. We're going to attach this on the cake once everything is done. So for the top, I'm just going to pipe a border with a tiny star tip. You could go with any border you like. This is honestly a blank canvas, and you can cover this whichever way you prefer. So once I gave this a border, I went ahead and used my Russian piping tip to make some flowers. Again, if you wanted to go traditionally with an Easter basket, then you can certainly just use a lot of colorful Easter eggs and color your icing green to make some grass and leaves. But I just wanted to keep this white. I thought it just gave it a very sophisticated look. And to complete the final details, I added some silver pearls, and that's all. Our cake is ready, except for the handle. I put that on later. But either way, here you have my most amazing carrot cake with cream cheese frosting. It is definitely one of the prettiest cakes I've ever made, the most experimental I've ever been when it comes to looks. But looks aside, I do want to assure you that this is definitely one of the most delicious carrot cakes that you're ever going to have. So even without the elaborate decoration, you should definitely make this. It's bound to impress any and everyone. So here you can have a look at the slice. It's 2 layers, but it's 2 layers of perfection. And I'm just going to treat myself to a bite because I can't just keep looking at this without salivating. And I really hope you enjoyed this video. And if you did, then please do give a like, do share and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And as always, thank you so very much for watching. And I'm going to see you soon with another video next week.